Did you know your mind is stamping reality? Boom! In this video, we're going to talk about the idea of mental imprints. This is a simple mind hack. Whether you're a video editor or just somebody that works behind the screen that maybe struggles with feeling really competitive, you want to be the best. Well, this is a mental trick that can change your craft, your business, and this is something you can use to change your life. I use it every day and it works. Now, before we dive in, who am I? I'm a professional video editor, but I'm also a spiritual seeker. Here's a photo of me in Tibet, because today we're talking about an ancient Buddhist principle, mental imprints. What is a mental imprint? Whenever you think of something, that something has a force. Whether it's a real high-flying thought, a positivity, or a dark, dreary, fear-driven thought. Every thought has a positive or negative quality. So there's a sort of vibratory force in our mind. And the whole idea in spirituality is that these vibratory forces sort of permeate out into the world. And so when we think something, we're actually imprinting the quality of that thought as a reality into the world. This is all outlined beautifully in this book, The Diamond Cutter. The Diamond Cutter is a guide to managing business and money through the lens of the Buddha. This is one of the great challenges in modern culture, is how we negotiate spiritual practice with
capitalism and the need to make money and pay rent and all of these
noisy manifestations of modern culture. How we negotiate the capitalist, market-driven world with our own spiritual lives is a great challenge. And yet we can learn tips and tricks of the mind to actually balance those forces. What you think, whether it's a great thought or a dark thought, that force is actually impressed upon the world. The Buddhists would argue you're actually planting seeds with every thought you think. And those seeds blossom and evolve and they manifest predicated on what you laid into that imprint. In the simplest age-old examples, if you wake up in the morning and set a strong intention for the day, you'll find that the day actually blossoms into something more beautiful. That is because you've imprinted something into the universe to start it off. We're actually planting seeds that can actually sprout up and blossom and evolve. We're creators of the world around us. Now, how does this apply today in your work? Well, let me tell you a little story. Most of my life, I have been internally very competitively minded. I've always wanted to be the best, and secretly, I've always been hoping everybody else did bad. You know that feeling in your mind where you hope that other people fail or don't do very good so that you look better? Whether it was making videos or performing on stage, I've always wanted to be the best, and I figured, well, other people can't be good either if I'm to be the best. Well, that's sort of fucked up, but that's the way I lived most of my life. Now, as I entered into spirituality, I quickly learned that's a toxic way to fortify yourself in the world. I remember one time, I was working for a high-flying client in an open office atmosphere. There were editors all around. And that morning, I had been reading The Diamond Cutter, and the idea of mental imprints had really set in. I don't need to think this way. And so I made an intention that morning that as I entered work, I would only leave positive imprints upon my coworkers. No more of this nasty nonsense. I'm going to watch my mind. So that afternoon, we were all gathered, editors and creative directors alike, and we were sharing each other's edits. If you're an editor, you know the dynamic, giving feedback, revisions, and so forth. Well, normally, I'd be thinking, I hope Tyler's edit kind of sucks, so mine'll look great. You know, that egoic, scarcity-minded thinking that thinks that there's only room for one person who's really good. But on this day, because I had been reading this book and understanding that my mind leaves imprints on the world, as we were watching the edits of my coworkers, I forced myself to truly hope that Tyler's edit was wonderful and that Stephanie's edit killed it. My coworkers are showing their edits and I'm watching my mind. Don't hope for it to be bad. Hope for it to be great. Rejiggering my mind. And I'm trying to be positive. You see, the mental work is that we must watch our mind and maintain that positivity without force, with true open-heartedness. And the truth is, they did love Tyler and Stephanie's edit. And when they came around to my cut, guess what? They also loved it. It was win-win. And that's the myth of modern culture, that it's all win-lose. But when we enter into spiritual practice, we realize there's a way of rendering the world that is win-win. The seeds we lay in the universe are manifest very clearly before us. In success in business, success in your life, and even just living with yourself in a more peaceful way is predicated on upending that negative way of thinking and flipping your mental imprinting to a positive feedback loop. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe below, and maybe watch a couple other of these videos I've made. Thanks so much.